Good morning, boys. Today we are going to start solving equations involving one operation, just one step. Okay? And today we are going to focus on addition and subtraction only. Okay, so you'll be able to get used to them. Okay. Now, let's recall some of the important points that we've mentioned last Friday when we had a lesson on introduction to algebraic equations. Okay? Now, last Friday we said that solving an equation means figuring out what the unknown value is. We need to know what the unknown value is. What is A? A equals. What is B? B equals. What is X? X equals. Okay? How can we do this? We can do this by rearranging the equation until we have the unknown value all by itself on one side of the equation. So we obtain C equals. We obtain T equals. Okay? The unknown value needs to be all by itself on one side of the equation. Remember that it is very, very important to always keep our both sides balanced. Okay? Because an equation is like a balance. So what we do to the left hand side, we must do exactly right like it to the right hand side. Remember grandma weighing flour. Okay, she used to put, for example, the 250 grams on one side, weight on one side. On the other hand, she would start weighing the flour. When the two sides are balanced, then she would know that she has the correct amount of flour. Okay, if the flour, the side of the flour is she would know that she has an extra flour. She needs to remove some flour. She must do so from both sides, okay? So, we need to do the same change to both sides. If we need to increase the flour, we must increase the weight. If we need to decrease the flour, we must decrease the weight, okay? Because we must keep our sides balanced, okay? For example, since we're going to focus in this lesson with addition and subtraction, so if on side 1, all right, on the left hand side, I add 2 to the left hand side, to side 1, I must add 2 to the right hand side as well, okay? If I subtract 5 from the left hand side, from side 1, I must subtract 5 from side 2 or the right hand side as well, okay? What I do to the left hand side, I must do exactly right like it to the right hand side. It is very, very important. Even though, boys, we are today starting with simple equations, okay? It's important to learn this method. This method is called the balancing method. It is very important to start doing it from this lesson. It is very important to start using it from this lesson, okay? Because eventually next year, even this year, but next year much more than this year. Next year we would have much more complicated equations. All right. For example, an equation might, solving a particular equation might carry 5 marks. Okay. So to obtain all the marks, okay, you need to show you're working every step of the way. So it is very, very important. I cannot repeat it enough. It is very, very important that what you do to the left hand side, you need to do exactly like it to the right hand side, okay? And remember that we must end up with the unknown value on its own. It is very important, okay? Now to undo a mathematical operation, okay, we need to do the opposite mathematical operation. For example, if I need to remove an addition sign, a plus, I must need to work out the opposite. So if I need to remove a plus 2, I need to work out a negative 2 and do that to both sides, okay? If I have, for example, a negative 5, and I need to remove that negative 5, I must add by 5 to both sides. I must do the opposite. So, to undo a mathematical operation, we need to do the opposite mathematical operation, okay? And to both sides, don't forget that. Now, we can start actually solving examples. Now, what we have now, we have a picture of a balance scales. On the left hand side, I have a and a 4. On the right hand side, I have a 10. Okay, so first I'm going to write the equation. So, left hand side of the equation, right hand side of the equation. On the left hand side of the equation, I have a, and with it, I have a 4. So I'm going to add a 4. On the right hand side of the equation, I have 10. The scales are balanced, so I put an equals. Okay, so that's the equation. Okay, I just wrote the equation just like we did in last Friday's homework. Okay, and last Friday's lesson. Now, I need to solve that equation. To solve that equation, I must end up with a on its own, because that is the unknown value. To end up with a on its own, I must rearrange the equation. I must remove, okay, the plus 4, because I need to end up with a only on the left hand side. So I need to remove that positive 4. To remove that plus 4, I need to do the opposite operation. So the opposite of plus 4 is minus 4. And I must do that to both sides. Do not forget, I must keep the scales balanced. So I must subtract 4 from the left hand side and subtract 4 from the right hand side. It is very important to use this method, boys, okay, for later on, especially for later on, so that you would be able to show that the working, that is the working, which I just did. The negative 4 on both sides, that is working, okay? So, if I had to collect now like terms, 4 minus 4, boys, positive 4 minus 4, it's 0. So on the left hand side, I end up with a is equal to, on the right hand side, I have 10 minus 4, and 10 minus 4 is 6, okay? So a is equal to 6. You can check your equation by substituting a by 6 in the equation. So wherever there is a, I put 6. Then, if the left hand side is equal to the right hand side, they become equal. So my answer would be correct. Let's do it so that you know how to do it. Check. So, instead of a, I'm going to write a 6. The equation is a plus 4 is equal to 10. Instead of a, I'm going to write a 6 plus 4. On the right hand side, there is a 10. Okay, 6 plus 4 is 10. On the right hand side, I have a 10. Since the left hand side is equal to the right hand side, then my answer is correct. So that is the checking. Okay, it's just the checking. Okay, so my answer is correct. Okay. Now the second example. In the second example, on the left hand side, I have s and I have 10. On the right hand side I have a 25. So let's start. Left hand side, right hand side. It helps to write them down. On the left hand side I have S, and with it I'm going to add the 10, positive 10. On the right hand side I have a 25. The two sides of the scales are balanced, so I put down an equal sign. Now, to solve that equation, I must end up with the unknown value S on its own. To end up with the unknown value S on its own, I must remove that plus 10. Now, the opposite of plus 10 is minus 10, and I need to do minus 10 to both sides. So minus 10 to the left hand side and minus 10 to the right hand side. So on the left hand side, if I collect like terms, 10 minus 10 is 0, boys. 0 plus S or S plus 0, it is S, equals, on the right hand side, 25 minus 10, and we have two number terms which we can collect. 25 minus 10, it is 15. So S is equal to 15. The unknown is on its own, S equals 15. So we've found the value of the unknown, of the letter of the unknown. S is equal to 15. Now, to check, we must substitute S by 15 in the equation. So let's check now. Check. The equation is S plus 10 is equal to 25. Okay? Instead of S, I'm going to write 15 plus 10. On the other hand, on the other side, I have a 25. 15 plus 10, it's 25. The left-hand side, as you can see, is equal to the right-hand side. So I can put down an equals. So since the left-hand side is equal to the right-hand side, then my answer is correct. Okay? So that's example 2. Example 3 now. Example 3. So on the left-hand side, I have t, and I have a minus 5. On the right-hand side, I have 12. Okay, so let's start. So we start with left-hand side and right-hand side. On the left-hand side, I have t minus 5. I'm going to add the minus 5 with it. I'm going to group them. T minus 5. On the right-hand side, I have 12. Okay? Again, since the scales are balanced, I can put down an equal sign. Now, I need to solve that equation. I need to end up with a t on its own. Okay? To end up with a t on its own, then I must remove the negative 5, the minus 5. To end up, to remove that negative 5, I need to do the opposite. So I need to add 5 to both sides. So I'm going to add, and I'm going to write it down because that is working. I'm going to add 5 to the left-hand side, and I'm going to add 5 to the right-hand side. Now, if I collect like terms on the left-hand side, minus 5 plus 5 is 0. I owe 5 euro. I have 5 euro in my pocket, so I end up with nothing, but I don't owe anything as well. So I end up with t plus 0, or t equals, on the right-hand side, 12 plus 5, I can collect them because they are two numerical terms, number terms. 12 plus 5, 17. Okay, let's check, boys. It's important to check. I substitute t by 17 in the equation, and the equation is t minus 5 is equal to 12. So instead of t, I'm going to write 17 minus 5. On the other side, there's a 12. 17 minus 5, I'm going to work out the left-hand side. 17 minus 5, it's 12. On the right-hand side, I have another 12. Since the left-hand side is equal to the right-hand side, then my answer is correct. Okay, so that's example 3. Example 4. On the left-hand side, I have p and negative 25. On the right-hand side of the equation, I have negative 40. So first, I'm going to write the equation as it is. I have the left-hand side. I have the right-hand side of the equation. Okay. On the left-hand side, I have p minus 25. On the right-hand side, pay attention, it's negative 40. I'm going to write it as it is. It's very important. Since the scales are balanced, I put down an equals. Okay? Now, we need to solve that equation. To solve that equation, we must end up with the letter on its own, with the unknown value on its own, that is p. So I must remove the minus 25. To remove the minus 25, I need to work out the opposite. So I need to work out the plus 25. Okay, plus 25 on both sides. Plus 25 on the left-hand side and plus 25 on the right-hand side as well. If I had to group them, minus 25 plus 25, I owe 25. I have 25 euro in my pocket, so I don't owe anything now, but I don't have anything in my pocket either. So BP is equal to, on the other side, on the right-hand side, I have negative 40, I owe 40 euro. I have plus 25, so I have 25 euro in my pocket. I give those 25. I still need to give back 15 euro. So P is equal to negative 15. The unknown value P is equal to negative 15. Now, let's check. The equation is P minus 25 is equal to negative 40. To check, I must substitute P by negative 15. So instead of P, I'm going to write negative 15 minus 25. Negative 15 and another negative 25, okay, is I owe 15 euro from the first shop. I owe another 25 euro from the second shop. So altogether, I owe 40 euro. So it's negative 40. On the right-hand side, I have negative 40 as well. Since the left-hand side is equal to the right-hand side, then my answer is correct. Okay? So that is example 4. Okay? Now, boys, the homework is very similar to this lesson. Okay, it's important that if you are stuck, watch the video again. Okay, and if need be, take out a piece of paper and work these 4 examples on your own to check whether you've understood or not. Okay. And then start the homework, because algebraic equations are very important. Okay, this is the basic, and eventually we'll get to start working on more complicated examples. Okay, even during this year, but more in the coming years. Okay, so it's important that you understand them. Okay, so that is all for today, boys. Now download your homework, upload it again on Clicks, because that is very, very important. Okay. Okay, boys, that's all for today. Bye and take care.